What makes a goal more than a goal? A save more than a save? Can cause even the tamest shot to light up a packed arena? The answer is Farmstead. Oops, I meant Champions Field, the deciding game of a series where every hit matters. One pivotal Game 7 now stands tall above the others, capturing the magic of a marathon season all in 5 electric minutes. Long after FURIA and Moist's World Championship quarterfinals gold dust had settled, its result would have lasting ramifications on Rocket League esports across the globe. This is what came before, during, and after the greatest Game 7 in RLCS history. The story starts with FURIA, whose eventual trio of Card, Kaio and Yan were forged in the fires of South American Rocket League itself. While Rise, Joyo and Vatira were still barely old enough to hold a controller, South America were finally allowed at the RLCS dinner party in Season 7, and Sam's early days saw 4 teams scrapping for the spoils. One group eyeing up the feast was Loki Esports, featuring the then 15-year-old Card.
Y en ETZ tienen que hacer todo entonces para forzar que se reinicie la serie. Por ahora es Card.
Card, Renan and Tanda lost just once in online qualifiers. The international game though was a different beast that the Brazilians weren't quite ready for.
Oh, he falls on it, securing the game.
Well, they couldn't get a win in Newark, making the extraordinary scene routine gained them global recognition. Still they pushed. A fire had been lit that only a roster change could sustain. Renan was out, replaced with an online MVP who'd had to watch from home as his compatriots took to the Season 7 world stage. Loki introduced the Great One.
No le permite que esa bola salga más lejos. Cuidado, Caio, el rey del doble touch, no va a conseguir. Claro que sí.
Barely 6 months post Newark, New Look Loki were back for Season 8.
Veloce is just too speedy, and Loki can't find the openings. The pitch!
They got it! It's Card there to clean it up for Loki. Off the back wall, Tander maybe one more.
Holy smokes, Tander!
Losses to the world champs in waiting and some plucky Aussie org called Renegades, surely a one-off, sent Loki home. But that win over Veloce was the springboard. Season 9, in which they went through all of League play undefeated and were signed by 11's esports, would be their time on the world stage. Only, it wouldn't. 2020's Season 9 would not be anyone's time. History agrees the land that never was would have been G2's to lose. But maybe, just maybe, our battling Brazilians would have blindsided us all and laid claim to the crown themselves.
I guess we'll never know.
Instead, they, like everyone else, were forced to take the fight online during Season X. Wins were traded all season between 11's in Brazil's corner and the multinational True Neutral, hailing from Argentina and Chile. It was a season where the whole world felt the frustration of a lack of lands. Card, Kaio and Tanda got the next best thing, being signed by the biggest org by far in their country. Revered in Brazil, the prowling Panthers of FURIA provided pivotal professionalism. Global restrictions permitting, they could bootcamp, train like pros, have it all. Their part of the bargain, keep performing on the pitch.
This one high and looping. There's a pass attempt there for Yanks. He's going to shoot into the tall corner. Wow. And Rebel take game 2. Now scrumming from the side. Yanks slows it down. We know what his dribbles are like. Oh, he's done so well to set up Snips. It's got to go in, surely it will from Astromic. Rebel do so well. Can they do even better down the other end? There's a shot here from Yanks. It's into the top corner. And that could well be the series.
The team, for all their years of brilliance, were being overtaken. They knew what had to be done as the Season X curtain descended.
It's over the top. Now Jan to the backboard again. Look at another one! Oh, make it 2 on the game! Approaching halftime. Nobody on the backboard. Jan. Oh, he's got the play. Oh, got it!
Ui, novamente ali o Ceiling para flip. Nova mecânica no seu wall dash, se não me engano. Opa, calma aí, calma aí!
The 21-22 season snowballed the stakes by giving us the one thing we'd been craving.
Lands are back.
Let's get it! Let's go!
Absolutely.
With new boy Yan, a Brazilian cheat code, they reached the first LAN in over 2 years with ease. and King Card would once more lead South America at a milestone LAN. Though there could be no crowd, FURIA banked on his and Kaio's LAN experience to carry them through.
Get through. Would have had a numbers advantage. Here's Jan. Yes, getting around Josh set. Jan going to work and scoring.
G2 will quite happily take it. Sandrock, they don't want to go there. Ahmad!
And that's a great bump from Kaio going forward. Trying to convert it into the top left corner.
And here he goes again, the 1v1 play around 2 players. And then Alden's above everybody else. Back to first killer.
It's a lot to ask out of your South American regional number 1, and Jan will deliver.
FURIA dominated scrims, but other than a spirited win versus G2, buckled to the pressure of the big stage. The fact they went out to the same plucky Aussie org who'd spoiled Card and Kaio's last LAN would have hurt even more. Thankfully, that would never happen again. They got back to the drawing board for the winter split and returned to the world stage greater than ever. The Winter Major in Los Angeles was where FURIA's Panthers would finally prowl.
Yanks tries to find Kaio, isn't able to. Wave doesn't get the touch, double touch from Card. The opening goal falls to FURIA.
And it might be left wide open. Kaio, the referee said Justin can't get there in time.
A shot underneath and a double! Kaio scores, FURIA tie! But Kami's got the catch. Kaio coming to try to bump. Kami flip reset into the net!
Obviously, they still lost to Renegades.
An excellent job of at least forcing G2 to play through
And to be fair, it's a little scary with a couple of those goal line saves. They're going to need one here.
Introducing Team Queso!
Oh yeah. Look, they already fan favorites. They are pumping up the crowd.
Pump it up. Pump it up.
Let's go, Patera.
Let me hear you. Mama, where you at?
Oh, look at the crowd.
Don't know what that is, but all right.
Battery? Joe? Yo? Oh, wait, Rise! I know him. Because back in the fledgling days of RLCS X, before anyone knew the name Yan, and a lad named Kaio was turning the heads of Tanda and Card, 3 European unknowns were kicking up a storm of their own. Their name was Barrage.
I'm feeling the Barrage bust. Choo-choo, tickets are free.
Fine, Barrage were using the open RLCS X format to come out of nowhere. Though the team did eventually fade, Rise was on the map. In the post-RLCS X off-season, he scrimmed with a freestyler called Joyo, who in turn scrimmed with a 15-year-old ranked warrior called Vetera, who was French. They signed up for a small tournament that featured RLCS regulars like Queso, RixGG, Wild, and Singularity. And they won it. Rise, Joyo, Vetera. Has a ring to it if you ask me. And one org beaten by our talented newbies agreed, as Queso signed them ahead of the 2021-22 season, where the biggest teams in the world, including our new friends FURIA, would soon have their eyes set on Stockholm's full major, the first RLCS LAN in 724 days. Queso wouldn't qualify.
Wait, what?
But, all barely 15 years old, they managed something even established teams like Guild and Liquid failed to do: qualify for all 3 of Europe's online full regionals.
Well, there he is!
Where heads really started turning though was in the 3rd and final regional.
I think Dig take this. I think Dig are looking to potentially win this event.
Oh my, Rise. Score that one.
That's it. That's it.
What a read. Now Rise is downfield.
Here we go. Here we go.
Can pick it up. He'll just put it on target. Nobody's home. The overcommit from Dignitas. Queso have thrown everything at Dignitas. Maybe one more.
Oh,
but they just can't get the touch. And Dignitas will come back in the series and win it in 7.
While FURIA were beating G2 and then losing to Renegades LOL in Stockholm, Queso was stuck home, scrimming, scrapping, shocking the sudden influx of worldwide talent on their EU servers, and putting their name out there internationally. Their big leap was an epiphany.
My team just told me, just do what you want, and I always play the best when I just am allowed to do what I want and I'm confident.
The best way to beat the best teams was to treat them like anyone else, to stop overthinking and play the same expansive style that broke them through the bubble scene. The wait for winter felt like an age. When the time finally came, they couldn't waste their chance.
But it's still an onslaught from Team Queso. Vetera! Oh! And it's EG who can't make their touches count. The team who have been playing so simple are getting torn apart here.
Rise, he's up, he's unchallenged for the longest time. Over the top of one!
Oh!
Second!
Queso confirmed themselves as the EU #1.
This was no wintry smash and grab. A simple mindset shift had elevated top 16 regulars into Europe's premium team. At LA's Winter Major, this band of unlikely superstars was suddenly up there with the favourites, if they could perform on LAN.
Nowhere near well enough to break by Queso yet again. They're gonna add a fifth! Far down! Everybody shoots! Everybody scores for Queso!
It's gonna be one last chance for Vatira. He's got past one. The bump out of the way.
This is the shot from Rise!
Vatira over to Joyo. Rise is waiting.
Full boost.
Oh my.
The Musty double! Oh! He got it!
Queso now held the fate of legendary reigning world champs NRG in their hands. Win this one series and they, and unimaginably not NRG, would play in front of the first RLCS crowd in over 2 years.
Interesting cuts on the cross from Vatira that start to scare me a little bit. NRG's defense can't block that! But here comes Team Queso. Rise all the way to the backboard. Rise right down! It's the Reaper playing bingo! If you would have told me that NRG don't even make it to Saturday of the Major, I would have told you you're absolutely wicked!
The dunk isn't able to come in, however, and Catalyst isn't able to clear it to the side. A flip reset on the side of Rush, flips it beautifully up for the double that touch. EG don't have that space in time.
Queso's sudden upsurge was about to collide with Furia's years of steady growth.
Get aggressive there, see if you can win a big challenge, come off the ceiling, put a little force behind it. That's a big demo and a quick follow-up. Normally I'd say that's a good double tap, but the only one there is Furia. That's a miss off the backboard. That's off the floor. Card's gonna find a go-ahead goal.
That's a little concerning for Queso to have that type of miscommunication. Yanks.
Wow! Yanks! Little misdirection, and Queso's gonna snipe to the left post.
Europe stays alive, and Queso moves on.
The inaugural meeting between Cheese and Panther went the way of the Europeans. Furia could feel no shame. The entire lower bracket couldn't handle Team Queso. Only G2, after a bracket reset, could, winning an RLCS LAN on home soil and, arguably, righting a historical wrong along the way. But this is not G2's story. With Queso home and their tears fully dried, rumours swirled that Vatira would jump ship to form a fully French Team BDS. As it turned out, they were wrong. Very wrong. Instead, the trio were under new ownership. LAN qualification for both teams was by now routine. The Spring Major was back in the UK at the legendary Copperbox, where 4 years prior, a 12-year-old Joyo had been part of the crowd when Justin scored the most important goal in Rocket League history, sparking Joyo's own journey as a pro. 4 years later, he was ready to follow in Justin's footsteps. Furia were too. They just lacked a rowdy crowd of Brits to cheer them over the finish line.
Nope. Another save in Moist. Will 3-0 Optic in our opening match. Vatira's shot puts Moist into Saturday.
They are sitting 9 seconds from success.
Can they do it? Oh no! A complete gas on the kickoff. Joyo Optic and the double. He's got enough to do it. What's the bump? Does he get it?
Boys can now play like that. They can afford to
16.8 years old. Moist's average age when they became the youngest team to ever win an RLCS LAN. Rise, Joyo, Vatira became burned in the minds of anyone with even a passing interest in the esport. The Copperbox had once more borne witness to last-second heroics, only this time, Joyo assisted the scorer instead of sitting in the stands. Top 6 for Furia was good, but nonetheless frustrating. Their time would come though. Soon. Like, super soon. I'm talking barely 2 weeks, bro.
It's all desperation now, and Furia's gonna run out of time here. To the backboard, double, it's in! Furia to the finals!
South America's jewel in the crown take international gold for the first time in the region's history.
3 years and 2 long months after King Card had tried to steal a series at South America's first RLCS, he entered Worlds for the first time under the banner of Furia. And this time, not only were he and his team one of the favourites, they were the reigning international LAN winners. As for Moist, so recently seen as skillful kids that could shock the big guns on their day, they were the biggest favourites of all. The reigning RLCS LAN winners, with impossible team-centric mechanics and the ice-cold resolve to back it up in the tensest moments.
Boys are the coldest team in the tournament!
Clocking in at 10 entire days of Rocket League, the tournament was an endurance race in its own right. One by one, the results came in, fans filled the arena, and it came to this. If FURIA could beat Countryman the club, their reward would be a spot in the quarterfinals. Against Moist.
Looking phenomenal against the best guys in the world. Now with the chance for the pass guard. Oh, he's gonna make it himself!
Didn't need to come forward for that. He was in a good position to start with and just drifted away. Wow.
They can see this game going against them. They know the defensive power of it. And they know that is in their net.
Kyle stepping up really big on this game number 7. Hace intento para los con el disparo hacia la portería contra todo el mundo.
A narrative that had bubbled under the surface since South America graced Season 7 with its presence would at long last reach its concluding chapter. For the final time in the season, FURIA faced Moist.
Dickies Arena, get ready. We have a wonderful battle inbound. Moist versus FURIA. Europe versus South America. Looking to advance on Championship Sunday. Let's get down to the Verizon Skybox.
What's happening again, especially with less than 2 minutes remaining and 1 goal lead as Vatira comes in.
Wow.
Hooks it back around. 2 players go at it.
No, no.
Tripped over themselves.
It is going to be a goal. Boys securing his game number 5.
All omens aligned for Moist. The entire event had been best of 7, and yet 56 series in, and with just 3 left after this, the first team to reach 3 games had won the overall match every single time. What's more, Moist had won 23 of the 27 series-deciding games they'd played since winter. While FURIA had been forged in the fires of South American Rocket League, Moist's young monsters had emerged from the deep for this very moment.
FURIA, how much do you want it? You have to beat Moist, not once, but twice. Yeah, three-step Vatira has a dodger here. Yeah! Now Khan up against Vatira. Infield, that's over! 2-goal lead is back! Ladies and gentlemen, get up! Get loud as Lakewood would say! We are going to Champions Field! 5 minutes! Cement your legacy or go home! Let's get to it! Moist versus FURIA! FURIA found another level in the second half of this series. Instead of the stop, Rice keeps it out, but FURIA are unrelenting! What a block, who's first? Joyo! Moist are holding on with everything they've got! Welcome to the orange side of the field, we haven't seen it all game. No back and forth, it's turn after turn, no
After 2 minutes of holding on, Moist get the one. But then let us slip.
Demo, Rice leaves it, but Joyo! Crossbar! Back into the midfield.
What a laser beam. Next wheel Kai. He has Gaia up front. The pass for Gord. And shoots Jojo with the save.
Card, infield, taken away. Kyle now looking for the back one. That's the one for them. Kyle pops it off. Now comes the follow. And it's in the back of the net.
FURIA tasted semi-final defeat to eventual world champions Team BDS, but this had been the breakout season of their dreams. Minor region underdogs had now reached parity with their European and North American counterparts, so much so that in the off-season FURIA were able to fulfill a dream, becoming the second team to move from South America to compete in North America. Meanwhile, Moist's story came to a close. A bubble player, former freestyler and ranked French warrior, had inarguably become 3 greats of the competitive scene, but their time as a trio ended here. There was frustration following their spring major heroics as they couldn't quite translate them to Worlds. Perhaps they'd argue that that 9-second comeback and any complacency it caused set in motion the chain reaction that resulted in their relative World Championship failure. Regardless, Vatira succumbed to the call of storied French org Carmine Corp. With Astral taking his seat, it seemed like the move to give all parties the happy ending they deserved. The 21-22 season, and its infinite number of stories we haven't had the time to tell, is over. The good news? The new season's barely getting started.